Okay guys, welcome back to another Discord.js tutorial. We're doing version 14 series, and today we're doing slash commands. You may notice slash commands are popping up all over the place. My bot RAM uses it pretty well. I'll give you an example of what one does. So if I type in hello, for example, it will give me a hello. So that's what slash commands does. It has changed since version 13, so if you watch the version 13 tutorial, you might as well scratch all of that information that you learned, because it has changed a little. Some of it is the same, some of it is not. We're going to be using our old handler, though, for this one. So, to do it, we're going to come into here. Now, we're going to close out everything that we have open at the moment, except config, because we want to add some things to configuration. First thing we're going to want to add is beta, because we want to define whether it's beta or not. In this case, it's going to be beta throughout this whole entire video. Okay. Next up, we have is exports dot dev guild ID. This is the ID of the dev guild that we're going to be developing in. Normally it won't be a primary server like mine. It would normally be like a bad development server like this. However, it doesn't matter. This is just where you'll be testing the commands before it goes public on a beta bot or whatever you do. That we're not releasing updates to people who when it doesn't make sense, basically. Okay. After that, we can close out of that, and we can head into making our handler. To make our handler, we want to go to utils, create a new file and call it command.js. Okay, from here, it's going to be pretty simple. That's what we're doing. So you're going to do module.exports. Oh, there is one more thing we do need to do real quick. This is just for it to work. We're going to do this dot commands equals to new collection from discord.ds. And boom. Okay. Now we can continue this. We can do module.exports. We're going to do a client like normal. And if you're new, obviously just follow along and you will learn the ropes. Alright, then for our commands, goes to client.application. And if you're not getting the autofill like you would like, you can simply just do that and double star. Get our variable put up there, and by using client from discord.js, you can now do client.applications application.commands. Then, if for some reason we're in beta mode, now to do this, you want to make sure it's imported from config. For some reason, it's making me open up the file for this, but you want to make sure it's imported from config. Then you can do commands equals to client dot yields dot catch dot get dev guild ID, once again from config. Then we can do dot commands. Now we have the commands imported if we're in beta mode. Now we need to do a read directory sync with fs. If you need to install, so use, or you can run npm ifs. And then I'll install it if you don't have it for some random reason. So we're going to do a redirect async on /source. Actually, what we can do is come here and do const path equals to require node path. Okay. So now what we can do is underscore directory name plus. Now you may notice we can actually go // and then if we create our vertical commands, you may notice that now we can actually do commands with our fill up. This will make command making so much more easier. We're going to do dot for each directory. From here, we're going to do const commands 2 equals to read directory sync. And we're going to pass in our directory name, then plus, and then we're going to go to commands, and we're going to import our directory. So we're going to do that. Which that key is above tab. If you hit it, it will give you that key. So then we have our directory commands. What we do now is filter them out to make sure they're JS files first. F dot ends with .js. Okay. Now that we have our commands imported, we need to do our for loop. So for const file of commands 2. This is where it gets a little bit complicated. We're going to do a pull of the command, of course, to pull the information from it. Now in this case, we can do // commands. And then we can do directory. And then file. We do client dot commands dot set pull dot name and then pull. Now this is different for message commands. However, we're doing / commands, so this is required. We're gonna do name, options, and description equals to pull. Commands question mark dot create. And we're gonna create name, description, and then options if there is any. Last but not least, we want to console log it, so we're going to do a new console Sometimes, if you can't get it imported, you open up the file, head back to where you're going, and then if you enter it, then you get it. I don't know why it's like that, but sometimes it does that. If it does it for you, that's how you fix it. Loaded, command, and then we're going to say name. Okay, so now our event thing is ready. When you go into events and go into ready, we need to do one thing into here, and that is above this one. We need to say require And then we're simply gonna require the ./utils folder and then import command. And then we're just gonna pass in client. This will help load in / commands. It is required to be in ready. If you do not put it in ready, it will error out with the commands can't be generated, leaving you with having to find another option. Alright. So now we need to create our iCreate event again. So we go in iCreate. It's gonna be a little bit difficult, but stick with it. So we're gonna do the exports equals to, so we're gonna do name. So the name is gonna be interaction create. It is important that it's interaction create. Alright, so we're gonna do our interaction create. Okay, so now for once, we're actually gonna say false this time, because we're running the on function, not the once function. Alright, next we can say async run, then in here we can say interaction. Now this is going to get a little bit confusing from this point on. Now we can say, we can now import our interaction from discord.js. I don't know why it keeps doing that. But for simplistic stakes, let's go ahead and just do const to require discord.js interaction. Okay, I don't know why it's doing that at all. So if it does that for you, just import it manually up there and erase that. I have no idea why it's importing like that. Okay, anyways, we're going to continue on. We're going to define our client here using the interaction.client variable. Okay, from here, it's going to sound similar. So we're going to do const command name. I'm going to say equals to interaction. Okay. From here, it's if not interaction dot is command. So if it's not a command, we're just going to return a null variable for now. Let's let command to client dot commands dot get command name. This will pull our command name and our command out of the commands folder. Alright, next is we need to register some commands. So we're going to do commands equals to client.application.commands, or var command, or if in beta we want to do if beta, import that in from configs. What we're going to do simply this time is commands, because 9 times out of 10, if you're beta testing and it's been gone, you're already in that guild. So we're just going to do interaction.guild.commands. Like I said, this is just simply if it did not delete itself. I noticed something when I tested this, it did delete itself once one was deleted. So if you have multiple missing, it would delete all of them usually. By the looks of it, it's what it's doing now. So if not command, but this is, like I said, is here in case it never removes. Anyways, if not command, we're going to do interaction, or if you left it in and you just need to keep deleting it for some reason, reply. We're going to say this going to say command name was removed. And then what we're going to do is commands.delete. Now we need our interaction.command ID. Then we're going to do .then cmd. But we're not going to need that command thing because we're just going to console log for sure. We're going to console log that. Then we're going to warn ourselves in console. We're going to say command name was not found. So I removed it. Now we're not going to be testing this. However, you're more welcome to test it. I just know it works because I tested it before. Okay. Then we're just going to return to ensure that it doesn't go. Next up, we're going to implement our perm check. We're going to do a perm check, which will equal to new perm. Now this is where it's confusing. We're going to do bit fill, not bit flags. And we see what that other one comes in handy for. We're going to do command dot perm. Then if not interaction dot member dot has and that as that permissions that has. So if they do not have the perm check parameters, which can be an array, it will simply return with an interaction dot reply of the array of what they're missing. So missing perm check dot to array. So now we have that, and of course we're gonna catch for any errors because obviously if it's skipping this anyways and this can't send it for some reason, we're gonna say that and we're gonna boom boom. Now I want this to be infamous, and actually we need to change this anyways because it needs to be like content to begin with. Then we're gonna do ephemeral. And what we can say is true here, as we're gonna be making it a private command. Okay. Then we're gonna put our extras here in case we pass anything else through in the future. And then command dot run interaction dot client. Not interaction dot client. So interaction client and then extras. And we're done with the I create. So we can go straight to our hello command. We're going to do our one single command, and then we'll do our extras. So we're going to create a new folder called fun, because this is where all the fun commands will be laid into. Hello.js. And it doesn't matter if it ends up being a subcommand group, I can still go in here. Anyways, we're going to do module, the exports, equals to name, hello. Description, get hello. Our perm for this one is going to be simply perm bit flags bit. Permissions bit flags bits this time. They got rid of the old one. We're going to be send messages. After this, we can do an async run because we don't need any options for this one. So we're going to just do an async one on interaction. Client and extras. And then after that, we need to import all of those. So we're just going to do that real quick. Tab out of that. And we're just going to say command interaction. Sometimes you have to go out of it just to import it. From here, we can also import client. I'm just screw.js, of course. And we don't need to import anything for extras. That res to await new RAM API. So now we're just gonna import our RAM API from our API class that we built in the last episode. And we're gonna pull from English because that's the options that we have. Now you don't have to put anything in here, but it will just default to English anyways. But we're gonna do it anyways. And then we need to catch for errors. And the simple way to do it is do new console log from the logger. And then we can say error this time. Alright. So now we got our error catch and we got our results. We're gonna do an interaction dot reply on this one, and then it's gonna be content, and then be res dot text. Now hello is done. However, now we need subcommands. We want multiple commands under the same name, such as, let's say, fun. We're going to do fun.js. Now from here, we're going to do module.exports equals to name. I'm going to say fun. Description. We're going to say fun commands. Now, perms is not necessarily needed for subcommands. You can individually do them. Or if you know for sure that all of them are going to be the same permission, which in this case it will be, we're going to say permission, flag bits, and then we can do send messages. Now, if it's going to be different ones, I would just default to send messages or just not put it in at all. It's not necessary for the permission checker to function. Options. We're going to say our first option is name. 8-ball. So that's going to be the name of our command, or subcommand. We're going to add a description. Do not press tab. It is going to put this dot description. You do not want that. Ask a bot. Or ask the bot a question. Okay. Next, we're going to do is type. Now, they changed how type is. You can no longer just say subcommand anymore. Now you do application. Application command option type dot subcommand. That's how you import it. And then obviously we want to put in our options because it's a subcommand. Again, do not press tab, otherwise that would happen. Then we can do a new array and call it and add a option for us. In this case, we're actually having stuff so we're actually put stuff. Now, if your thing subcommand does not have it, you do not need to put options here either. So this one has a question to it, so you can ask about the question. Description will be the question to ask the bot. Now the type, once again, is going to be application, command options type. This one's going to be a string. And then required, we're going to say true because it is required. Right at the bottom of the options, we can hit tab, hit async, run, interaction, client, and then extras. Again, if you don't use them, that's fine. It's good to have them in there when you do end up using them. We're going to do that star. Then we're going to do command, interaction again, and then client. Okay. In here, we're actually going to get our options. interaction dot options, or just interact. Sorry, just interaction. All right. Then we can do const command. So options dot get. Now it may not pop up, but you can follow along here and sub command. Okay. Now it's going to let API client, because this is going to be multiple commands in one file. So calling these all the time will be very difficult. So we're going to do in API. And then we're also going to make a logger for this file using the console log class. Okay. Next, we're going to switch our command so that we can output multiple commands. Case will be 8-ball. And then we can let q equal to options that get string and then question. Then we can let res or result API equal to API client, and actually you need to await this. I'm not sure why it's not. So it needs to be awaited. So you create that client, and then 8-ball. Again, we're going to do English. Again, you don't need to do it as an optional string. That catch. Then error. The error will be from the logger dot error section. Res dot or not res error. Okay. Next, we need to do is let embed. So we need about our embed. Now, it used to be message embed, but now it's embed builder. We're going to do set color, and we're going to do bloople. Actually, we're just going to do random. Alright. And it's not all caps, so that is correct. Set description is actually going to be question. Then we're going to say Q. We're going to enter a new line. And then we're going to say answer will equal to res.text. Right, that's all for this. Now we just have to send it with interaction.reply with an embed. So there we go. So now we did subcommands, and don't forget to break this. Now we did subcommands and regular commands within slash commands. Now, and it's also all slash commands handled. No message commands or message intent required. So now you can just start the bot. You would notice as soon as it starts, it may error. Say no such as utils .. commands. That is an error. So if that happens, the way you can fix that is simply going here, going ..source, and then straight to commands from there. That is one way to fix that issue if for some reason path isn't appropriately giving you the options. Just make sure you do it for both and remove directory name. Then you can save all, make sure everything's saved. And then you can run the bot again. Oops. Not reinstall FS. But if you run the bot again, you will notice it be running. And if you come here, you would notice it actually created some slash commands. So it created a hello. We're going to test it. It works. Now if we do run 8-ball and say, how are you? it will come back with the answer. So as simple as that. If you guys enjoyed this video and would like to know more, stay tuned and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video.